Hello there. This video is for working on the US Springfield Model 1861, specifically the action. As you can see, it's missing here. I have it disassembled in front of me here, almost completely disassembled. And this video is my little homemade guide because I couldn't find anywhere online that explains how you're supposed to do this, and obviously I don't have the owner's manual for taking this apart, putting it back together, buying parts for it, fixing it up, yada yada yada. And I couldn't find anything on Google either. No forums, no websites, nothing. So we're kind of in the dark here on this subject. So I'm going to try and brighten it up a little bit. In front of me is the action. And as you can see, I have some of the parts disassembled. On the action here, I have, ignore that hole there, that's not from me, that's from the previous owner. I have the 1861 Springfield, US marked. Here, I have the sear spring. This is the tumbler. This small pin is the tumbler stirrup pin, and it attaches to the tumbler stirrup. This here is the mainspring, which was my goal today, and the hammer, of course. If you get this action and you are missing every single component, you may be wondering, well, mine doesn't look like yours, obviously, because you have stuff on it. So here's what you need to do. If you have only the plate, if you have just the plate and nothing else, you're going to want to put the hammer on first. The hammer goes on first, and it attaches to the tumbler. And I believe that this is just pressed in there with a hammer or stamped in there somehow, but it's just a friction hold, I believe. I couldn't get this out due to how tight it's placed in there, but you will just need to really hit it hard in there to have it stay put. That goes on, attaches to the tumbler. Once you have the tumbler on, you can either leave this sear spring for last, or you can put it on next. It won't affect the next process. I just spent about 1 hour of my time figuring out how to put this mainspring on. Now, I'm using all original parts. You might be using reproduction parts. That's okay. It's the same process. It might be a little easier for you because you're not using old metal, but I did it with original parts. The mainspring is the hardest part to put on. Everything else is just a screw on, and it's relatively simple on how to do it. Here's the best technique. You're going to notice that I have the sear and I have the bridle taken apart, along with their corresponding screws. This is the hammer screw. You can leave this on. I did not realize I could leave it on. The tumbler rotates around this pin here from the hammer. So when you move the hammer, it moves the pin, and therefore it moves the tumbler. The stirrup for the tumbler moves independently from the tumbler. Now this is important because you're going to want to position the hammer all the way down, which will affect the position of the tumbler, and then it'll affect the position of the tumbler stirrup. The tumbler stirrup you're going to want to have back all the way to here. If there was no spring on this, I could move the stirrup back into this position because it pivots, or it rotates, independently. So this is going to be here, right where my finger is now, when you're going to actually do it for yourself. Now the spring has 3 components which make it attach to the action. There's a pin. You can't see it, but it sits right behind the Springfield logo. It sits right there. It's just a pin that is a part of the spring and it sits into a hole. Simple as that. there's, I don't know if you can see in this video, but there is little claw hands on the spring that attach to the stirrup itself, which move the tumbler, moves the spring, creates the tension. The tension's why this part is so hard to get on. It took me about an hour to figure out. And then the last part that it attaches to is right here. This just slides up inside the little divot weld here that you should already have on your action. So this just slides up. This just goes right in the hole. And this just attaches like that. There's no screws, there's no nothing. You might be thinking, well, why is it so hard then? Because tension. That's literally why it's so hard. This will be back here. You're gonna want to put this on second, this on first. So you attach the spring to the stirrup. It's nice and solid. And then you're gonna want to take some good old trusty pliers, some good pliers and a lot of finger strength. You're gonna want to compress the two bands of the spring together as much as you possibly can. And then you're going to want to insert it as far in to here, both horizontally and vertically, as you possibly can, while it's still attached to the stirrup. This will only leave the pin at the base of the spring left to adjust. You will have to adjust it horizontally, vertically, and you'll have to make it actually sit inside the hole, which it will not be. This spring will be sitting below the action. You're going to have to stretch it and then move it back into the hole, which is why it's so tricky to do. So attach this first, then slide it into the slot here, pinch the two together, right about here, I'd say, as tight as you can, and then maneuver this onto the action itself, and then with a hammer it down into place so it sits in the hole. If you go hole first, and then this part that slides up, you will never get it into the stirrup. You'll be wasting your time. The stirrup pin must go in first, and then this part which slides in, and then the hole gets put in. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Any other order will not work. Once you have it like this, then you're free to put on the sear and the bridle and the corresponding screws. So I hope you found this video useful. I would demonstrate it for you. However, I don't feel confident in being able to put it back in on my own very easily. This took me an hour to do of just troubleshooting and figuring this out. So it's a kind of long video of me just blabbing. I apologize for that. This is my first video. I don't really know how else to describe what I did, but strip it apart as much as you can. Put the hammer all the way down. Mess with the position of the tumbler and the stirrup, and then, stirrup first, then this, and then squeeze together and align that pin. Once you have that, it should be in. And then the hard part is done. Hope you guys found the video useful. If you do, let me know. And good luck with putting your 1861 Springfield action back together. Thank you.